Sunday, February 23rd, 2025, 11:38 a.m., 8 seconds on the second hand. No NHL bets for today. I might put out an episode later today for tomorrow's NHL bets and possible NBA bets for tomorrow. But today, I should have put out an episode yesterday for today's NBA bets, which, using the same strategy as episode 120 and episode 95 and possibly 94, which if you're going to listen to 94, you got to listen to 84 and 85 and 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, and then you got to listen to 94. And then at that point, you got to just start the whole podcast and listen to it and then get to this point. And then keep listening. I haven't done the homework assignments, so the movies. But using that same strategy for these three bets, we have Toronto Raptors plus 1.5 on the spread at minus 110 odds, 1.1 unit. But the odds and the unit amount is going to reflect the live number that I find when I'm watching this game. I want to be watching the game and watching the live spread to get a live spread amount. So when the Toronto Raptors are playing the Phoenix Suns and they're actually losing by like 8 to 10 points, so the spread's going to move from plus 1.5 to like plus 10.5, plus 11.5 for the Toronto Raptors if they're losing by that amount, which they will at some point in the game. Because the NBA has developed to the point where they're making so many three-pointers that the team that is a road favorite, the Phoenix Suns is a road favorite against the Toronto Raptors. They're going to be up by like 10 points here in this game at some point before the fourth quarter and maybe even before the third. So that's when you bet Toronto Raptors plus 10.5. That's just an example. Because the line isn't going to move to 10.5 until they're playing the game. So the plus 1.5 is hitting at, the Toronto Raptors are 32, 23, and 1 against the spread, which is only 58.2%. But the Phoenix Suns are 19, 36, and 1, which is 34.6 against the spread. So they hit well below 40%. Against the spread. So the Toronto Raptors not hitting above 60%, which is they're hitting at 58.2%. So not quite at that 60% criterion threshold that I would like them to be hitting at. So normally the Toronto Raptors aren't a team that I would label as a team to bet against the spread, especially before the game. In the NBA because of the big point differentials. But the Phoenix Suns are 19, 36, and 1. So they're 5.4% below the 40% criterion threshold that is 40% because they're at 34.6. So the fact I wouldn't bet this before the game. I would wait for the live spread. And when the Toronto Raptors are losing against the Phoenix Suns, live bet the Toronto Raptors spread. And it should be, they're going to hit because it's going to be like closer to 10 points. This is how you bet the NBA in the future. This is how you bet the NBA. Yep. And the second bet for today, my apologies on the late episode, would be Memphis Grizzlies at Cleveland Cavaliers over 247.5 points scored at minus 110 odds. And we're risking 2.2 units to win 2. So the live odds are going to change the amount you risk, the unit amount you risk. But you're just trying to get 2 units on this one because both of these teams are hitting at a really, really higher rate. So If you include Cleveland and Memphis, Cleveland is 37-19 on the over this year, which is 66.1%. And Memphis is 34-22. So they're hitting at 60.7. So if you add those together, that'd be 126.8 out of 200 total. So that's like, that's, you know, you know what I mean? That's kind of how my brain adds it up or whatever. So I would wait. I know it's a very, very, very high line, but if you wait for there to be a scoring drought like 2 nights ago with the Cleveland Cavaliers at the New York Knicks, the lowest the game was at was 235.5, but before the game the total was set at 241.5. So if you bet the over when there's a scoring drought on this game, the same concept, the same idea. I know it's 6 more points, but it's just, I mean, when you think about it, it's just 2 3-pointers. These two teams can do that in like 10 seconds. Boom, one can hit a 3, and then one will be wide open on the inbound pass, and they'll just hit a 3 like that in under 5 seconds. And that's 6 points like that. Boom, boom. That's how, there's no injuries. What's the injury report look like? For the Memphis Grizzlies, game time decision, Zion pulling. And game time decision for the Cavaliers is Darius Garland and Jarrett Allen. Those are the only 3 injuries, and they're all game time decisions. So everybody's playing in this game pretty much. Donovan Mitchell, John Morant. I don't know if they'll let him bring his heater up into the game, but and the third bet for tonight, these are all possible live bets. So you wait for the Toronto Raptors to be losing by a substantial amount. If they're losing by a substantial amount for the live spread for the Toronto Raptors, you bet that to win 1 unit. Memphis Grizzlies at Cleveland Cavaliers over it's set at 247.5 right now, but you can probably get it at like 235. Maybe closer to 240. But I think that'll hit because it will. And there's going to be a bunch of links in the description of the episode if you want to look at all the teamrankings.com links for all the home underdog records. That would be the Toronto Raptors and the Minnesota Timberwolves, which the Minnesota Timberwolves are actually better. They're home underdogs. They're only 2-1-1, so that they don't have enough of a sample size, I should say. But that would be the third bet for tonight. Would be the Oklahoma City Thunder minus 9.5 at minus 108 odds. Oklahoma City is 33-19-4 against the spread this year, covering at 63.5% of the time. Minnesota Timberwolves are 24-32-1, covering 42.9% of the time. So they don't fit below the 40% criterion threshold. But the fact that Oklahoma City is 3.5% above the criterion threshold of 60%, it makes up for the Timberwolves only, it's a 0.6% difference. So you do 1.1 or 1.08 units, but you wait for the Thunder to be losing or be tied with the Timberwolves while they're playing the game, and then you live bet the Oklahoma City Thunder live spread. You live bet the spread for the Thunder when they're tied with the Timberwolves or losing to the Timberwolves. And Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert are out tonight as well. So sorry, Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels. It's just against the Thunder, I just don't see it happening. But these are all live possible NBA bets. And this is the way to bet the NBA. So As long as you see the live amounts, the spreads and the totals that you want, as long and the game is playing out the way you have to get it, you have to bite it. Yeah, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. That's pretty much it. Anyways, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So I was going through and NFL Week 14. I found something in my notes where I knew I had fucked up, not keeping track of my units at the start of the NFL season. So I'm gonna have to go back and re-listen to the episodes all about the NFL betting, and maybe just every single episode from 40 on, from episode 40 until now, to listen to see. I'm gonna do this anyways, but just to keep track of my confidence, or if I had any, because I know I didn't keep track of units until after the fire. So before the fire, um I know that I was more confident on some of the bets that I was talking about in the episodes for the NFL, on the NFL episode podcast episodes. Um, but I didn't label any like unit amounts, because why did I do that? Um, um, I don't know. I think there was a couple of reasons why, but I'll have to think about that. Anyways, um, I had I was doing the math for the units, and for some reason on week 14 I had thought that I didn't explain or go over the amount of units that I wanted for each bet, but I guess I did. So I'm gonna have to do the math on all of it. This is why I was very hesitant on doing the unit amounts before listening to every episode and going through and keeping track of the unit amounts on paper and typing them out, because that's what I should have done at the beginning of the NFL season, and it fucked. I knew it was gonna fucking fuck my head up trying to keep track of the units in the NFL without re-listening to the episodes, because I need AirPod. I need like Bluetooth headphones. I think I do actually need Bluetooth. Somebody needs to buy me Bluetooth headphones, but I should have kept track. Um, when you're whatever. What was I gonna say? Um, I got the little puppy dog here. So, because of the unit amounts actually being tracked in week 14, I might be at about 0 units won in the NFL due to not keeping track of the units in NFL weeks 1 through, like, what was it? 7, 8? I think it was like week 1 through 8. I didn't keep track of units at all. So when I added up the units, if you see in the description of the episode, I added up the units for the NFL and it says plus 10. But for weeks 1 through 8, adding up the units, I only kept those unit amounts as one, like 1.1 unit to win 1 unit. And I didn't do 2-unit bets or 3-unit bets or 4-unit bets, because back then when I was doing the episodes, I didn't talk about the amount of units at all. I just said what bet I thought would win. So I'm why I'm going over this is for transparency reasons, in terms of like making sure that the unit amounts are not transparent. Like, I'm being transparent in the amount of like what's in the description of the episode. So you're not like, I'm not like, I'm not like an invisible person. But no, I know there's gonna be some bets weeks 1 through 8 where I was more confident, and where so I would label that like a 2.2 unit bet or a 3.3 unit possibly. That's why I'm gonna go back and listen, or somebody can do it for me, or somebody can buy me some Bluetooth earbuds, or somebody can bring me to the sports book and we can go do this at Turtle Lake Casino and Sportsbook, which is in Wisconsin, which in the Twin Cities, it's actually the closest place where we can legally do this, all this betting stuff. And yeah, it would. I knew just with the whole OCD thing, it was gonna really bug me that I didn't keep track of the units, and I have to go listen to every. So somebody should go, and then I'm gonna be like, man, I should just listen to the entire podcast again for the 7th time. Took me a while to bring up uh Turtle Lake. Um yeah.